On USDJPY daily time frame, price is overall bearish, making low lows and lower highs, trading inside these two blue trend lines, forming a channel. And price is currently approaching our upper blue trend line. That's why we'll be looking for trend following sell setups on lower time frames, since this blue trend line is acting as a non-horizontal resistance. Moreover, we do have this green support and resistance, which adds more confluence to our sell setups, since now it's acting as resistance. Unless price breaks it upward aggressively, then our resistance would become support, and we'll be looking for buy setups on 3 test. And as price approaches our upper red resistance, we'll be looking for sell setups on lower time frames. So long story short, we'll be looking for sell setups as price is sitting around resistance. Unless price breaks it upward, then we'll be looking for buy setups and sell setups around here. For now, since price is sitting around resistance, we'll zoom into our time frames and look for potential sell opportunities. Here's the view from H4 to show you that our trend lines, are objective and connecting many swings. For now, as mentioned, we'll be looking for sell setups, knowing that price can still go up to test our 105 resistance and blue trend line to get more liquidity to be able to push price lower. And if we zoom into M30 time frame, we can see that USDJPY is overall bullish, trading above this red trend line. So it's not a good idea to sell just yet. Please don't try to catch the exact tops and bottoms. As per our trading style, we don't sell immediately after price approaches a resistance. We always wait for extra confirmation, and confirmation. So for now, this trend line is not valid yet, as it only connects to swing, so 1 and 2. So we'll be waiting for a third swing to form around it to consider it valid, as you can see here. So here's our possible scenario on USDJPY, and then let's make it in gray as usual for our trigger swing. And then when this swing is formed, our trend line would be considered valid, and this swing would be our trigger swing. Then we'll enter sell after a momentum candle close below it. And as usual, when the sell is activated, our stop loss would be just above the last swing high or last red dot for those who have HTL, and we target a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, which would be around our lower demand zone, as you can see, as price made an aggressive movement upward from it. So many traders would put buy limits around this area, but it's not our trading style. We don't just buy immediately if price tests a demand zone. If price activate the sell, then a movement till our lower demand zone will be expected, and in this case, we'll be looking for buy setups to form around it. And until the sell is activated, USDJPY would be overall bullish, and as mentioned from daily, can still test this area before going down. Good luck. On GBPCAD daily time frame, as per our last analysis, as expected, price rejected our upper resistance in blue and traded lower. For now, price is sitting around our lower brown trend line, which acts as a non-horizontal support, and we do have this 1.7 round number. That's why we'll be looking for buy setups on lower time frames, and as price approaches our upper resistance again and upper brown trend line, we'll be looking for sell setups on lower time frames. For now, price is approaching a resistance, so we'll be looking for buy setups. We will not buy immediately, as price can still break our lower brown trend line downward and test this support to get more liquidity before going up. As I always say, trading is reactive and not predictive, so please don't just buy now, as it's only one confluence in our trading plan, and it's not enough. It's not a good reason to buy immediately. So as usual, we will zoom into lower time frames and look for potential buy setups. We always wait for extra confirmation. We want the buyers to prove to us that they are taking over. As you can see, GBPCAD is currently overall bearish from a short-term perspective, making low lows and lower highs. So as mentioned, it's not a good time to buy just yet. We will be waiting for a new swing to form around our red trend line to consider it valid and as our trigger swing, and then we'll enter buy after a momentum candle close above the swing. When the buy is activated, our stop loss would be just below the last swing from the other side, in this case below the last blue dot or last swing low, and we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. And if the buy is activated, as price approaches our upper resistance, we'll be looking for sell setups. Meanwhile, until our buy is activated, as you can see, GBPCAD is still overall bullish and can still break below our lower brown trend line to test the lower green support before going downward. But in this case, we will not sell as price is sitting around a huge support zone. We are only interested in buying this one for now. Good luck. On Euro NZD H1 time frame, price is still sitting around our blue support from the daily time frame. That's why we are still looking for buy setups. And as per our last analysis, we were waiting for a new swing to form around our red or orange trend line to consider it valid and then enter buy on its break upward. And that's exactly what happened. As you can see, price broke our trigger swing with a momentum candle close, so we entered around here, and our stop loss goes just below the last blue dot. So we are currently holding a buy, floating a little bit in positive on Euro NZD. For those who would like to jump in, it would be better to wait for extra confirmation. Here we go. So price is currently forming a classic break and then retest. So you will be waiting for a new swing to form around our red trend line to consider it valid and then enter buy on its break upward. So that's what we'll be waiting for. Here we go. Let's zoom out a little bit. And as mentioned before, we'll be waiting for a third red dot to form around our red trend line to consider it valid, and then we'll enter buy after a momentum candle close above the trigger swing. Our stop loss would be a little bit smaller than this one, as it's a trend following setup, and we'll target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. Here we go. So, long story short, we are currently holding a buy on Euro NZD, and for those who didn't enter yet, it would be better to wait for this setup to fall to join the ride. And as I always say, price can still go down, hit our stop loss to get more liquidity, and push up again. In this case, we'll be looking for new buy setups to form around support as price is sitting around this support area unless price breaks it down aggressively with many bearish candles from daily time frame, then our support would be broken and it would now act as resistance and would be looking for sell setups on lower time frames as price retests it. For now, this blue level is acting as a support zone and we are only interested in buying setups. Good luck. On AUDUSD daily time frame, price is currently sitting around a strong support and resistance zone in green. As you can see, many rejections from it. That's why we'll be looking for sell setups on lower time frames. Unless price breaks it upward aggressively, then our resistance would become support and we'll be looking for buy setups on three test. In this case, as price approaches our upper resistance in red, we'll be looking for sell setups on lower time frames. So long story short, we'll be looking for sell setups as price is sitting around resistance and as price approaches our lower support, we'll be looking for buy setups. If price breaks it upward, then buy around here and sell around here. For now, as mentioned, Price is currently sitting around resistance, so let's zoom into lower time frames and look for potential sell opportunities. As you can see, price formed an objective channel in red with many swings. This is a valid and objective trend line since it's connecting RichTL dots. But as you can see, we are still overall bullish as price is still making higher highs and higher lows. And even though a price is sitting around resistance, we will not sell immediately. We'll wait for an extra confirmation and trigger. We want the sellers to prove to us that they are taking over. We don't sell immediately like many traders do, because as mentioned, price can still break it upward and then break the resistance. It will become support and we'll be looking for buy setups on its retest. Trading is reactive and not predictive, so please don't try to catch the exact tops and bottoms. So for now, we'll be waiting for a new swing to form around our lower red trend line to consider it valid, and then as usual we will be selling on its break downward. Here we go. So we were waiting for a new swing to form around it, then sell on its break downward. Let's make this one a little bit smaller, and when the sell is activated, our stop loss as usual goes just above the last swing high or last red dot, and we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. And as mentioned, from daily, as price approaches our lower support, we will be looking for buy setups on lower time frames. Meanwhile, until the sell is activated, AUDUSD would be overall bullish and can still break above the resistance as mentioned from daily. So let's wait and see what happens. Good luck. On Amazon daily time frame, as per our last analysis, we know that Amazon was overall bullish, making big impulse movements and small corrective. As you can see, big impulse, small corrective, and so on. However, starting from here, the buyer seems to be losing momentum as they couldn't push above the previous high and instead made a lower high. And in parallel, as you can see, price couldn't break below the previous low. So the buyers are not in control and the sellers couldn't break below the last low. So they aren't in full control yet. As you can see, the price is making lower highs and higher lows. It's getting stuck inside this range, and the range is getting smaller and smaller in size. So sooner or later, we'll have an explosive movement either upward or downward. We can't know for now if we would have a trend following pattern break or a trend reversal setup. As I always say, we always wait for extra confirmation. Trading is not predictive, it is reactive. So if we zoom into H1 time frame, we can see that Amazon, as mentioned from daily, is getting stuck inside this giant symmetrical triangle as you can see in red. Our upper trend line is now valid as it connects three dots, but our lower trend line is not valid yet as it only connects two dots. So here's our two possible scenarios. First of all, since this one is currently valid, we can wait for a momentum candle close above this one to buy Amazon. For now, it's not a good idea to buy as price can still go lower and to test the lower red trend line before going up, as this trend line is acting as a non-horizontal support. In this case, we'll be looking for buy setups on lower time frames like M30 time frame as a short-term bullish movement inside this symmetric triangle. And would be waiting for a third swing to form around our lower red trend line to consider it valid, and then we'll enter sell after a momentum candle close below it. If we enter buy, if the buy is activated, then as usual our stop loss would be just below the last swing from the other side, and we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio. And of course we move our stop loss to break even as price approaches this minor supply area. And if price forms a sell setup around here, then we will close our buy and profit and we will sell, since price would be sitting around a supply zone. And as usual, of course, exactly the opposite for the sell pattern. If price, as we were waiting for a third swing from around it, then sell on spec downward, then our stop loss would be just above the last swing high in this case, and we target a 2 to 1 to ratio, which would be around our lower demand zone. And as price approaches our lower demand zone, we will be looking for buy setups on lower time frame. So long story short, for now Amazon is stuck inside the symmetric triangle. We are waiting for a momentum candle close above this area to buy. We are waiting for price to approach this trend line to look for buy setups on M30 as a movement to our upper right trend line would be expected, and we are waiting for a third swing and then sell on spike downward and buy and sell. Okay, that's it for Amazon. So buy, sell, here we go, and buy, sell. Good luck.